some building on the layout recently, and I was looking for a little portacabin to go at the side of the line to hide some electrics in for some LEDs. So looking for something to hold, I couldn't find something that looked right and modern. So I've gone back on my computer and I've designed a portacabin. And I've done this in two stages. So I've got a sheet I can cut out to get all the sizes of the card. So first I'll stick this on, and then once that's all dried and cut out, I've then got the slightly oversized texture, which will then go on top and wrap round the card to stop the card edges from showing. So I've got a little bit of scrap card here, and I'm just going to test out. This is the first time I've actually built this cabin, so I'm just going to build one and see how it looks. So first of all, I'll just cut one of the cabins off the paper. This is just standard A4 paper that I'm using. I've played about with some photo paper, and I find that it gets quite sticky with the ink, and you end up with fingerprints on things. So what I'm going to try the next time I do that is use the enamel varnish over the top to try and seal the ink onto the photo paper. But at the moment, this one's just going to be on normal paper. I will also make this template available on my website so that you can build it yourself. I've got a modern wall at the moment, which I took the photograph of the bricks myself. So the actual wall is made of a real brick from a real wall, which is quite close by, and it looks pre-weathered because it's an actual photograph of a wall. So again, what I've done is, to make cutting easier, is I've laid out the cut sheet so that I can do long sweeps of the blade, meaning it doesn't get caught up as much and cause damage to the template. Having the 2-layer template just helps because you can then wrap your texture round, because you're cutting out things before you put your texture on. If you just put the texture straight on, you would get some white edges, but being able to wrap the texture round is a little bit more beneficial. Almost done. There we are. The other benefit of doing this means I can use less card, because I can now lay this out in a slightly better way to ensure that I use all the pieces. And I don't have a base. I don't think I'm planning on putting the base on this, because I am actually wanting to put some electronics inside to help run my LEDs at lower intensity. So I want to have space so that this can lift off, and inside I'll have my resistors to set up my LED brightness. But what I'll do is I'll cut out anyway, and then I might build this test one with it. Right, so by the time I put this on the website, the layout of the cut sheet might be slightly different. A lot of the components on this model are going to be all the same, but the dimensions of the texture will be slightly different. So as you can see, my front, my back wall and my base are all the same size, but the roof is going to be slightly wider, so I'll lay that way around. So the roof's got a lip which is going to go over the top, just so it's more prototypical. It doesn't fit that way. So as you can see, I'm trying to use all the space that I've got on the card. And of course, by doing that, it means that my cut lines are going to be as simple as I can make them. So I can cut off in between and then neaten up the edges, and then again I can cut down and cut and neaten off the edges. So we'll leave that to dry for a bit, and once that's dry we'll come back and we'll then cut it all out. So there we have it, that's me now got two separate portacabins now cut out. I haven't done the supports yet. I might do these with matchsticks because these are going to be rather thin and the card does tend to get quite flimsy when it's that thin. So I might use matchsticks for that. So the first thing that we need to do is cut out one of the cabins. And we'll put the other one away just now. So again, it's just a case of neatly cutting out each section. And remembering these are going to be slightly larger than we actually need so that it covers the edges. Again, with this being the first 3D build, I might put it up slightly differently on the website. So there we go. Now it's just a case of matching up the right sections. So as you can see, the roof is quite a bit bigger than the card that it's going on to. And all I need to do is match up the dark grey area . You'll also notice that I'm using the back rather than the sheet which has what the section is on it. That's just so that I've got a reference other than just the part. I should know what everything is because I've designed it. The base doesn't have anything to go on. The front and back walls are both identical, so it doesn't matter which way around that they go. And again, there's a dark border which I'm going to try and just make sure it's centered in. And then what I'll do is once I'm actually building it, I'll fold all that round. And again, try and center it in dark border. So now we'll let those fully dry before we go into the next step. So I've now let these dry for a while so that I'm now going to be able to fold them round and make the edges look really neat. So the first thing I need to do is just cut little slits so that when I do fold them round, it's all neat. So I'll just do this. Quickly and all, it doesn't matter which way around the slits go, it's just so that when they're folded round, there's no sign of the fold. And then with the edge of the blade, just run along each of the edges. There we go, that just makes it easier to fold. Put the knife away. So the next thing I need to do is just make sure that all the folded edges are going to fold round neatly. I'll just take these corners off because they're a bit long. And that just means that the edges of these pieces aren't going to be white. I'm just lightly going over these with the rocket glue because I really want these to stick. The Pritt stick's okay for the surfaces where you've got a large surface area to stick down, but where you've only got a small area like this, you need something a bit stronger. We are talking just over 1mm thickness of the card, and that's what we're trying to stick to. So the stronger glue just helps make sure that it sticks. I'm not putting lots on, I'm just putting a very fine bead of it on. So there we go. So now we can get our base and start assembling. Again, it's just very little glue that's required, just enough. As I say, the idea for these cabins on my layout is to have some resistors . So there we go, that is the kit put together. Which doesn't look too bad for just being some printed paper and some scrap card. And what I'll do is when I build up the second one is I'll leave the base off and I'll use that to hide some electrics which are going to be above the baseboard. And all I've got left to do with this is support pillars, but what I'll do is I'll just use some matchsticks, paint the matchsticks a dark colour so that the portacabin sits just off of the layout when I choose where it's going to go, so I can make it nice and level and look like it should be there. What I might also do is make the black lines slightly a darker grey than the actual grey itself, so that it looks more natural. But from all the portacabins that I've seen, normally they have a structure out, which is a slightly different colour. Most of them I've seen were blue, some are a darker grey. So that's where this came from, and that's it. It's nice and simple. As I say, I will also put this kit up onto the website so you can download it. Once you've registered, you'll be able to download the kit, and you'll be able to download the wall one as well. But with the rocket glue, be nice and solid, nice and firm. That I've only just made that and it's nice and solid. So I'll build the second one, and the second one will be my resistor box. Just to go over the resistors, I'll just sit over them just to hide them, so that if I find some LEDs that are a bit bright, I can just change the resistors and then put the cabin back on top.